Welcome, Middlers, to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I take you on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration. I am a Reiki master teacher, a spiritual and business mentor, and of course, a psychic medium. And I am here to share my story and help you tap into your extraordinary abilities. Join me every Wednesday as we dive into the realms of intuition, energy healing, and all things mystical. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just dipping your toes into the magical waters, this podcast is your go-to source for inspiration, guidance, and a whole lot of lessons and laughter along the way. Let's get started. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to episode 214. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle. Welcome back. And today's episode was actually inspired by an email that I received. And then I also received an Instagram message about the same thing. So I was thinking this should be something we should talk about on the podcast. I just wrapped up 2 Banff Wellness Retreat weekends, which was so fun. It was so nice to meet so many of you and see familiar faces again. I presented on my most popular workshops that are available on my website. And then I also did an in-person event here in Banff. It was a Reiki and restorative class. Just trying to get back into community, and it was nice to teach a yoga class again. I did the same event a few months ago. It went really well. If you missed it, it will be coming back in the fall. We'll do it again. It's so fun. Have a little restorative class and receive some Reiki at the same time. So as always, I pulled this week's card pull with you on Instagram. At Medium in the Middle is my only account. Beware of scammers for everything. I will never DM you. And I pulled the card Get Grounded from the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light deck. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. You are being called to get grounded, to ensure that your luminous field is clear and your inner well is full. If you're not grounded, it's all too easy to get swept up in other people's energy and mistake it for your own. Your boundaries will become blurred as you are absorbing the energies around you and struggling to define what is their stuff and what is yours. If you pulled this card, you are very likely an empath or a highly sensitive person and need time alone to fill your well, balance your energy, and get grounded. There are 2 types of people, those who draw their energy from others and those who draw their energy from within. Reflect on which one you are and carve out time each day to ensure your well is being replenished. Being sensitive is a superpower, but like all powers, it needs to be nurtured in order to be fulfilled. It's easy to get swept up in the high-frequency energies that are swirling around the planet. The quickest and most effective way of clearing all of this from your field is to ground your energy yourself by connecting with Mother Earth. There are many ways to get grounded. One of the most powerful ones is to practice earthing by connecting to the power of Mother Earth. Spend time in nature, put your hands on a tree, or walk barefoot on the earth. A reminder to get grounded. Yes. Especially when life is getting crazy, when you have a lot going on. I say this to my students all the time. I am always clearing and grounding, clearing and grounding, clearing and grounding. All day I am clearing other people's energy and regrounding my energy. It's not something you can do once a week. It's not something you can do once a month. You have to be clearing and grounding every single day, especially if you're doing a lot of spirituality work, especially if you're practicing your mediumship. If you're doing Reiki, you need to be clearing and grounding after every single session, every single person. When you come home from work, clear and ground. When you come home from going out to a concert, the grocery store, yoga class, clear and ground. Just being very mindful of that energy will really support you feeling lighter and more like yourself. The only announcements that I have for you are the May Reiki trainings. If you are feeling called to take Reiki Level 1, my next Level 1 is May 11th and 12th. And if you are feeling ready for Level 2, the next Level 2 is May 4th and 5th. That one still has spots left. Same as Level 1, you'll know when you're being called to Level 2 and when it's time to move on. And just as a reminder, I do host these courses monthly. They are very popular. So whenever you are feeling like the right time for you to sign up, there will be a course available. So today's podcast is inspired by an email that I got. So thank you for this email. And it also kind of got me thinking that I think I want to start a series where if you have a good story or a good podcast idea that you would like me to share, if you email it to me, I can start also sharing your stories as well, or giving my opinion and feedback on things. So if you have a story or something that you would like, send me an email. My email is on my website. You can contact me through there. But this was from one of my Reiki students, and it says, "Hi, Steph. I have always communicated with spirits through signs. Prior to signing up for level 1, I had huge doubts about doing so. So I decided to ask Spirit for a yes sign, and I always pick what the sign will be. I was thinking about what sign I wanted when balloons popped in my mind. I rejected balloons and decided on butterflies. As I'm leaving work, I see a large bunch of balloons tied to a sign. I say to Spirit, not balloons, butterflies. Do you know what's coming? I go to the dollar store, walk in the door. With no exaggeration, there is no less than 100 helium balloons blown up and floating on the ceiling. I'm going to say Spirit picks the sign sometimes. Very funny they are." And the email says, "You tell us stories all the time. I thought you'd like to hear one for a change." So I thought this was a really nice reminder, number one, because when she was thinking about a sign, balloons popped into her head and she rejected balloons and thought butterflies. So that's a really good example of when your intuition says something, in this case, balloons, but your thinking mind says another thing, in this case, butterflies. So when you're forcing butterflies and Spirit is sending you balloons, I mean, her walking into the dollar store and seeing 100 helium balloons blown up is just hilarious, but also the big slap in the face of like, hey, we said balloons. You're getting balloons. And I had another person message me because they were also at my spirit signs talk at the Banff Wellness Retreat, and they said, hey, so I asked for a very specific sign, like you said, and I asked for, I think it was her mother, to visit her in her dreams. She's like, but I didn't get a dream. She was like, why do you think that is? And I wrote back and I said, hey, like, just keep trying. Sometimes it's not always immediate, especially when it comes to that awareness of signs. We have to pay attention for a little bit longer than a day. And then she wrote me back and she said, hey, I think I got another sign from my mom through a song, and I did receive the sign I was looking for, but it wasn't through a dream the way I asked. Do you think this is still a sign? And I was like, yes, yes, yes. Like, yes, it's a sign. The awareness of asking for signs is just that. It's the awareness. You're saying you want balloons. You're saying you want to connect with mom. You're looking for something to remind you of your loved ones. And while sometimes it is the specific thing we're looking for, sometimes also just looking for that one thing allows us to see the million other signs that are also around from spirit, from the universe. So I just wanted this episode to be a reminder that sometimes you get the signs you asked for, and sometimes you get the signs you didn't ask for. But if you're constantly seeing balloons, I would start to ask myself, like, who would be trying to contact me? Who would be trying to say hello? Just like in last week's episode where we talked about the 14-year mystery of someone sending her dimes for 14 years and not knowing who it is. You weren't asking for dimes, so the dimes had no meaning. But as soon as we put the meaning there, now everything makes sense. So I do want to be clear that just because it's a sign that you didn't ask for, that doesn't make it any less of a sign. That doesn't mean that Spirit's not listening. That doesn't mean anything negative. It's just you asked for butterflies, you got balloons. And then you got balloons and balloons and balloons. So don't feel discouraged if you don't get your signs right away. We want to think about requesting signs from Spirit and our loved ones and the universe as an awareness. You're opening yourself up to what's out there, what's being shown to you, what is in your realm of awareness. I say this all the time. We get sent hundreds of signs a day and we probably see 3. So when you start to see 10 or 20 or 30 a day, you are literally still getting hundreds that you're probably missing. So take whatever ones you get, accept them, even if it's not exactly what you wanted it to be or how you wanted it to be delivered. If you were like, oh, I asked for mom to send me a dream, but since she sent me a song with the message, that's beautiful. Your mom found a way to get you the message that you needed to hear. So I wanted to come in and remind everyone that I know it's a lot easier when someone like me says, yes, that's still a sign. But just really feeling in your power to take those things on as, yes, that really is a sign, confirmation of what you think. Being able to give yourself that reassurance without giving your power away, having to ask someone else if it's a sign. The answer is, if you have to ask if it's a sign, the answer is probably yes. If you think it's your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your loved one in some way, it's probably them. You wouldn't randomly think that this song was sent from your mom for no reason. So just take these signs, put them in your pocket, don't overthink it. Don't allow your thinking brain to get in the way. That's just going to slow you down and rob you of these beautiful miracles and experiences and signs from your loved ones. So just a quick little message today. I hope you found that helpful. Thank you again for the email. If you have a story that you think I should share on the podcast or a lesson, please send me an email and maybe I will use a few for future podcast episodes. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast. I release new episodes every Wednesday. If you could leave a rating and a review, I would really appreciate it. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye, everybody.